Hi, good morning. I wanted to share a quick story about my wife and I's experience with 72-hour kits. About 15 years ago, we were in a meeting where we learned about the importance of having 72-hour kits for each member of our family. And so we proceeded to go to a sporting goods store. We bought big duffel bags like this for every member of our family, and then proceeded to put canned goods, hygiene items, sleeping bags, anything else we felt like would be important in the event of an emergency. Now, I'm grateful we never had to use them because those bags were so heavy, just hefting them to the closet where we stored them was a bit painful, let alone if I had to carry mine and then carry one of my kids' bags. We wouldn't have gotten far if we had to go without a vehicle. So anyway, we put them in the closet and then promptly forgot about them for 5 years. So the day came when we felt like we should go through our 72-hour kits. Our son was 5 at the time, and we found some fun surprises. In his duffel bag, we found diapers and formula. In mine, my clothes had mysteriously shrunk. The cans of food we had in those bags had expired. And so we realized that just from hefting these large duffel bags into the living room, that they were awkward to carry. And so we thought about this, and our solution was to go buy big backpacks for each member of our family. And so with those backpacks, we threw cans of food back in there, sleeping bags. We put all kinds of stuff that we felt like we would need, and then put them back in the closet just to forget them for another 5 years. So the day came when it was time to review our kits again, and we found the same problem. We found cans of food that had expired. Our son was 10 at the time, and the little tighty-whities with dinosaurs wouldn't have done him much good. And so we realized we needed to come up with some kind of a system for rotating our 72-hour kits so that if an emergency did come, what was in there would be appropriate to where our kids were at and us as well. And so our solution was backpacking. One summer morning, we loaded our 72-hour kits in our car, and along with another family, drove up into the Uintas here in Utah to hike the highest peak, which is called Kings Peak. Our idea was to take our 72-hour kits and give them a test run and just see what it would be like if we had to use our kits. So what started out as a fun adventure within just a short distance became very painful, more like a death march than fun. And so every 10 to 15 minutes, we would stop, pull off our packs to give our shoulders, backs, and knees a break. It took us most of the day to cover 7 miles to get to base camp. And when we got there, we were so exhausted, we set up camp, had a quick meal, and went right to bed. Now, I'm not going to bore you with how we felt when we woke up the next morning, but let's just say it was not pretty. And we just left all our gear there. We grabbed some water bottles and snacks, and then we began hiking to the peak. That second day was absolutely beautiful. The vistas and just going up there just absolutely blew us away with how gorgeous the scenery was. And at some point, it kind of occurred to me that there was no real difference between what we were experiencing on the second day than what we were experiencing on the first day. The only difference was the death march. And so anyway, I had that kind of percolating inside of me as we were walking out and experiencing more pain. On our way out, something passed between us and this other family that we just knew we were never going to do this again. And so we didn't backpack for many, many years after that experience. So almost 5 years later, I had a friend invite me to go on a backpacking trip, and I was adamant, I don't backpack. So I related to him our death march and the pain that we were in, and he asked me if I'd ever heard of lightweight backpacking. And I hadn't, so I began to research, and I realized that it was pretty easy to have a pack that was under 25 pounds. And so with a few weeks to spare, I began tweaking and working on it and went on this trip with a pack that was under 25 pounds. And it was quite a long trip. We ended up doing the first day almost 10 miles. And I got to camp, I wasn't in pain, and the hike had been an absolute joy. And so from that moment, I was hooked, and I began using my kit as often as I could to refine it and to make it as comfortable in the outdoors as possible. So this experience really changed how we saw our 72-hour kits. We began going out and refining them, always looking to have better quality, lightweight food, and also to remove any discomfort from our experience. And so we came to operate on 3 principles: a pain-free hike, delicious lightweight food, and a great night's sleep. And I could be in the most beautiful place, and if I don't have these 3 things, I'm going to be uncomfortable and I'm not going to enjoy it as much. I can be in the most average place, and if I have these things, it's going to be magical. It's going to be awesome. From this point, we began storing our 72-hour kits in our cars and not forgotten in a closet. And going out and refining and testing our kits has made it possible for us to feel much more confident and comfortable if we're ever required to use our kits in the outdoors. For those that have an interest, there are going to be some short videos coming out on how to put together a 72-hour kit so that you'll have that experience of pain-free hiking, so that you'll be able to have delicious food and a great night's sleep. Lastly, to provide the young women and young men the opportunity to refine their skills in the outdoors, the bishop, the youth, and their leaders will be going on a number of backpacking trips over the next few years. We encourage parents to prepare their daughters and sons with their own 72-hour kit to use on these trips, to practice and get comfortable should the need ever arise. The reason we're presenting this so far in advance is to give parents the opportunity of holidays and birthdays to prepare their youth. Thank you so much for your time. If I can be of any help, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.